Okay, wait. So you're telling me that the drivetrain in a car actually changes how the entire car behaves? Like, it's not just engine goes burr and wheels go spin.
That's literally the most simplified way you could have put that, but yes, that's exactly what I'm telling you.
So when people are out here arguing about FWD this, RWD that, AWD is safer, 4WD is better, that's actually a real debate with like actual answers?
It's one of the most heated debates in the car world, honestly. And the wild part, most people who have strong opinions about it don't fully understand what each one actually does.
Oh, so it's like the console war, but for car people.
Yeah, actually, that's a pretty accurate comparison.
Okay, now I'm interested. Let's get into it.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Solo Filler. I'm John.
And I'm Lily, and yes, welcome. Glad you're here, glad everyone decided to show up today.
Solo Filler is the show where we take topics that people either overthink or completely misunderstand and just walk you through them, like two friends talking. No textbook, no lecture.
Basically just us yapping so you don't have to go down a 3-hour Wikipedia rabbit hole at 2 a.m.
Today's topic, we are breaking down the 4 main drivetrains in cars: front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, and four-wheel drive. What they are, how they work, which one actually wins, and honestly, we're gonna bust some myths too, because there is a lot of misinformation floating around about this stuff.
And as someone who knew absolutely nothing about drivetrains before today, like genuinely I just thought all cars worked the same, I can tell you John is going to make this make sense. Or at least he's going to try.
I will absolutely make this make sense.
He says that every time.
But before we get into it, if you're enjoying Solo Filler, please drop a like and share this episode with a friend who's into cars, thinking about buying one, or just wants something interesting to listen to while they do literally anything else.
Yeah, our boss would really appreciate that. Like, really, please. I want to be paid this month.
Okay, with that out of the way,
let's get into it.
all right, Lily, before we start throwing around terms like FWD and RWD and AWD, we gotta lay down the basics first, because if we don't, none of the rest of this is gonna make sense.
Okay, yeah, appreciated. Because I will be honest with the listeners right now. Before today, when someone said drivetrain, I genuinely thought they were talking about, like, a train that runs on a drive. Like a driveway train.
A driveway train?
Don't laugh at me, Tron.
I'm not laughing, I'm just... Okay, so a drivetrain is basically the system in your car that takes the power from the engine and sends it to the wheels. That's it at its core.
Oh, so it's like the middleman between the engine and the wheels.
Exactly. Think of your engine as the guy generating all the power. It's doing all the work, right? But the engine itself doesn't touch the wheels directly. The drivetrain is the system that says, okay, here's all this power, now let me figure out which wheels get it and how.
So it's like the engine is the carry on the team, and the drivetrain is the support deciding where to route all that damage.
Okay, that's actually a solid analogy. Yeah, the engine is the carry, the drivetrain is the support building around it.
See, I make things make sense too.
You do, sometimes. So now, the reason this matters, and this is the key thing people don't realize, is that which wheels get the power completely changes how a car handles, how it feels to drive, how it performs in rain, snow, off-road, on a track, all of it.
Wait, so two cars with the exact same engine could feel completely different just because of how the power gets to the wheels?
100%. You could take two cars with the same horsepower, same weight, same everything, put one in FWD and one in RWD, and they would drive like completely different machines.
Huh, okay, that's actually kind of wild. So it's not just about how big your engine is.
Never just about the engine. That's like saying a gun is just about the bullet. The whole system matters.
Deep. Unexpectedly deep for a car podcast.
I have layers.
Okay, so we've got 4 types: FWD, RWD, AWD, and 4WD, and each one sends the power to the wheels differently.
Right. Front-wheel drive sends it to the front, rear-wheel drive sends it to the back,
All-wheel drive sends it to all four automatically, and four-wheel drive also sends it to all four, but it works very differently from AWD, and that's something a lot of people get confused about.
Oh, so AWD and 4WD aren't just the same thing with different names?
Nope, not even close. And we're going to get into exactly why later, but just keep that in the back of your head for now.
Noted. Okay, so we've got the foundation. 4 types, each one routes the power differently, and that changes everything about how the car drives.
That's the whole premise, yeah. Now let's actually get into each one, and we're starting with the one that's in the majority of cars on the road right now.
Which is
Front-wheel drive, the one everyone uses and almost nobody talks about.
the quiet kid of drivetrains.
The quiet kid that literally carries the class. Okay, so front-wheel drive, FWD. This is the most common drivetrain on the road right now, and honestly, it gets way more hate than it deserves.
Wait, people actually hate on FWD? Like, genuinely?
Oh, car people despise FWD. Go to any car forum, any car subreddit, bring up FWD and someone will show up within 5 minutes to tell you it's garbage.
Car people are so dramatic. Okay, but what even is front-wheel drive? Like, how does it actually work?
So, in a front-wheel drive car, all the power from the engine goes directly to the front wheels, just the front. The engine, the transmission, all of that, it's all packed up front together. And the front wheels handle both steering and driving the car forward at the same time.
Oh, so the front wheels are doing like double duty. They're steering and they're pulling the car.
Exactly. The front wheels are basically doing everything. Steering, accelerating, a good chunk of the braking. They're multitasking hard.
That sounds exhausting. The front wheels are basically the main character who also has a part-time job.
And actually, that's one of the downsides we'll get to. But first, the reason FWD is so popular comes down to a few really practical things. Number one, it's cheap to make. Because everything is in the front, you don't need a drive shaft running all the way to the back of the car. Fewer parts, simpler system, lower cost.
Oh, so FWD cars are cheaper to buy and cheaper to fix.
Generally, yeah. Lower manufacturing cost, lower maintenance cost. That's a big reason why most budget and economy cars, your Honda Civics, Toyota Corollas, Hyundai Elantras, they're all FWD.
Ah, so FWD is basically the Honda Civic of drivetrains. Reliable, affordable, gets the job done. Nobody's posting about it on Instagram.
That is genuinely perfect, yes. FWD is the Honda Civic of drivetrains.
I have my moments.
The other big advantage is fuel efficiency. Because FWD has fewer components and less weight, it's the most fuel-efficient drivetrain of the 4. And there's another cool thing. Because there's no drive shaft running down the middle of the car, you get a completely flat floor in the cabin. No transmission hump in the middle.
Oh, wait, is that why some cars have that weird bump in the middle of the floor and some don't?
Yes, exactly. RWD cars need that drive shaft running from the front engine all the way to the back so you get that hump. FWD, no hump, more cabin space.
Huh. Okay, so FWD is fuel efficient, cheaper, more space inside. That's actually a solid deal. What's the catch?
So the main catch is handling. Because the front wheels are doing so much, steering and driving, there's a natural tendency for FWD cars to understeer.
Understeer. Okay, explain that like I've never driven a car aggressively, which I haven't.
So imagine you're going into a corner pretty fast, right? You turn the wheel, but instead of the car following the turn, it kind of keeps going straight, like it's pushing forward instead of carving through the corner. That's understeer. The front of the car just washes out.
Oh, so it's like when you're playing a racing game and you go into a turn too fast and your car just slides off the track instead of turning. Like when you miss the braking point in Gran Turismo and you're just watching yourself go straight into the wall.
Exactly like that. The car plows forward instead of rotating into the corner the way you want it to.
Okay, that sounds annoying, especially if you're trying to drive spiritedly.
It is, at the limit. For everyday driving, it's totally fine. Most people never push a car hard enough to feel it. But for driving enthusiasts, that's the reputation FWD gets.
So it's not that FWD is bad, it's just that it's not made for people who want to throw a car around corners.
Exactly. FWD is optimized for practicality, not performance. And there's also one other thing. In really high-powered FWD cars, you can get something called torque steer.
Torque steer. That sounds like a cooking technique.
So torque steer is when you floor the accelerator and the car pulls to one side, like the wheel kind of jerks in your hands. It's because the front wheels are trying to put down a lot of power while also steering, and the forces get uneven.
Oh, so the car basically goes, I am doing too many things right now, and starts having a crisis.
The front wheels hit their limit and start protesting. And that's actually a real problem in hot hatches and high-power FWD cars. You floor it out of a corner and the car just wants to yank the wheel out of your hands.
Okay, that sounds terrifying and also kind of hilarious. The car is literally arguing with the driver.
Pretty much. But here's the thing, and this is important. FWD is actually better than RWD in rain and light snow because the engine sits right on top of the drive wheels. All that weight gives them more grip.
Oh, so FWD is actually more practical for bad weather than the sporty RWD option.
For most everyday conditions, yeah. Rain, light snow, wet roads, FWD handles those really well. It's not the best in deep snow or off-road, but for commuting through bad weather, it's genuinely solid.
So basically, FWD is the drivetrain for normal people who just need to get to work and back without their car doing anything unexpected.
That's the perfect summary. It's practical, efficient, affordable, and reliable for everyday use. And the cars that prove FWD can actually be fun, the Volkswagen Golf GTI, the Honda Civic Type R, those things are FWD and they absolutely rip.
Wait, the Civic Type R is FWD? That thing looks like it fell out of a Fast and Furious movie.
FWD, and it holds lap records at tracks that RWD sports cars struggle to beat.
Holy crap! Okay, I take back everything I might have accidentally assumed about FWD.
Told you. Now, let's flip it around, literally. Let's see what happens when you send the power to the back wheels instead.
Oh, here we go. This is the fun one, isn't it?
This is absolutely the fun one.
All right, rear-wheel drive, RWD. This is the one that car people lose their minds over. And honestly, there's a reason for that.
Okay, I can already tell this is going to be the chapter where John starts glowing a little bit.
I'm not glowing, I'm just enthusiastic.
He's glowing. Okay, go ahead. What is RWD?
So, rear-wheel drive is basically the opposite of FWD. Instead of sending power to the front wheels, the engine sends it all the way to the back wheels. The front wheels, they just steer. That's their only job. All the actual driving, the pushing and pulling the car forward, that's all happening at the rear.
Oh, so the front wheels finally get to clock out and just exist?
Exactly. Front wheels are on vacation. They just point the car where you want to go, and the rear wheels do all the heavy lifting.
Okay, but how does the power even get to the back? Like the engine is still in the front on most cars, right?
Right, so this is where it gets a little more mechanical. In an RWD car, you got a drive shaft, basically a long spinning rod that runs from the transmission all the way down the length of the car to the rear differential, which then splits the power between the two rear wheels.
Oh, so that's the thing that creates the weird hump in the floor of some cars.
That's exactly what creates it. The drive shaft has to go somewhere, so it runs through the cabin and you get that tunnel hump in the middle.
Okay, so RWD takes up more space inside and it's more complex mechanically, so why do people love it so much?
Because of how it drives. See, when you separate the jobs, front wheels steer, rear wheels drive, you get this really natural, balanced feel. The weight of the car is distributed way more evenly between the front and rear, and that changes everything about how the car handles corners.
Okay, so instead of the front wheels being overworked and underappreciated like an FWD, everything's got its own role and it just flows better.
That's exactly it. It's like the difference between a one-man band struggling to play everything at once versus an actual band where everyone has their instrument and their role. The result is just cleaner.
Okay, that's actually a really good way to think about it. So RWD just feels more composed.
More composed, more responsive, more dynamic. And here's where it gets really interesting. When you push an RWD car hard into a corner, instead of understeering and plowing straight like an FWD, an RWD car can oversteer. The back steps out.
Oh, is that what drifting is?
That is exactly what drifting is. When the rear wheels break traction and the back of the car swings wide, that's oversteer. And a skilled driver can control that, play with it, use it. That's the whole art of drifting.
So RWD is basically the drivetrain of choice for anyone who wants to drive like they're in Initial D.
Every single drift car in Initial D is RWD. Every professional drift competition car is RWD. The Toyota AEE6, the Nissan Silvia, the Mazda RX-7, all RWD. All icons of that culture.
Okay, now I get why car people are obsessed with it. It's not just a drivetrain, it's basically a whole lifestyle.
It really is. And it's not just for drifting either. Basically every serious performance car, every sports car, every luxury sedan that cares about driving dynamics, BMW 3 Series, Mercedes C-Class, the Toyota GR Supra, the Nissan Z, the Ford Mustang, the Dodge Challenger, all RWD.
That's a murderer's row of cool cars, honestly.
And there's a mechanical reason they're all RWD. During hard acceleration, the weight of the car shifts backwards onto the rear wheels. In an RWD car, that's actually helpful because your drive wheels are getting more weight pressed onto them right when you need it most.
Oh, so that's actually smart. So the harder you accelerate, the more the car kind of helps itself.
Exactly. The physics work in your favor. In FWD, it's the opposite. Accelerate hard and weight shifts away from your drive wheels, reducing grip. That's part of why FWD struggles with torque steer in powerful applications.
Okay, so RWD is basically built different when it comes to performance. What's the downside, though? Because there's gotta be one.
Snow. Ice. Anything slippery, really.
Oh. Is that why an FWD car is supposed to be better for winter?
Yeah, because the engine weight is not over the rear drive wheels, it's up front. So the rear wheels have less grip in low traction situations. You floor it on a slippery road and the back of the car just wants to swing out.
So it's basically a liability in winter unless you know what you're doing.
For an inexperienced driver in snow without winter tires, yeah, RWD can get away from you fast. But, and this is important, that's not really RWD being dangerous, that's a tire problem. An RWD car with proper winter tires is actually totally manageable in snow.
Oh, so it's not the drivetrain that's the problem, it's people running all-season tires in a blizzard and blaming the car.
You just summarized one of the biggest myths in the car world. We're actually going to come back to that in the myth-busting chapter because it's a big one.
I'm already looking forward to that one. But okay, so RWD is more fun, better for performance, better weight distribution, drifting, cool cars, but it needs more attention in bad weather and costs more than FWD.
That's the whole picture, yeah. It's the enthusiast choice, the driver's drivetrain. If you love driving, if you want the car to feel alive under you, RWD is where that feeling lives.
Okay, yeah, I get the hype now. It's like playing a game on normal mode versus turning the difficulty up because you actually want to feel something.
That's honestly one of the best ways anyone has ever described RWD to me.
I'm full of surprises. Okay, so we've done the front, we've done the rear. Now what about all the wheels?
Now we get into the territory that every car commercial in existence wants to sell you on.
Oh God, the AWD chapter.
The AWD chapter. Okay, so all-wheel drive, AWD. This is the one that every car commercial, every SUV ad, every crossover brochure is trying to sell you on. And honestly, it's not bad, but it is probably the most misunderstood drivetrain of the four.
Misunderstood how? Like people think it does more than it actually does?
Exactly that. People treat AWD like it's some kind of cheat code for bad weather. Like slap AWD on a car and suddenly physics doesn't apply anymore.
Oh, so it's the drivetrain equivalent of buying a gaming chair thinking it'll make you play better.
That is painfully accurate, yes. AWD is the gaming chair of drivetrains. It helps, but it's not the miracle people think it is.
Okay, so before we get into the myths, how does AWD actually work?
So, AWD sends power to all four wheels. But here's the key thing. It doesn't always send equal power to all four. Most AWD systems are either front-biased or rear-biased, meaning they primarily drive one axle and then automatically send extra power to the other axle when the system detects wheel slip.
Oh, so it's not like all four wheels are constantly going full send all the time. It's more like the system is monitoring things and adjusting on the fly.
Right. Think of it like a smart auto-targeting system in a game. It's constantly reading the situation and redistributing resources where they're needed most. You don't have to do anything, it just handles it automatically.
Okay, so that's actually the big difference between AWD and what we're going to talk about next, 4WD, right? Because 4WD you have to actually turn on manually.
Exactly, and we'll get into that fully in next chapter. But yeah, AWD is fully automatic. No switches, no modes, no driver input required. The car just figures it out.
That's actually really convenient. So what are the actual benefits?
So the biggest benefit is accelerative traction in low grip conditions. Rain, light snow, gravel, wet roads, AWD puts power to whichever wheels have the most grip, so you get much better acceleration in those conditions compared to a two-wheel drive car.
Okay, so if it's raining and you need to merge onto the highway, AWD is going to get you up to speed more confidently than FWD or RWD.
Way more confidently, yeah. And it also just inspires confidence in general. The car feels more planted, more stable, especially in rapidly changing conditions. Like if the road goes from dry to wet to a patch of ice, AWD is constantly adapting to all of that automatically.
Okay, that sounds genuinely useful, especially for people who live somewhere that gets all 4 seasons in one day.
Right. For people in areas with regular rain or light snow, the Pacific Northwest, parts of Europe, anywhere that gets inconsistent weather, AWD makes a real difference in everyday confidence.
So what's the catch? Because you said it's misunderstood, which means there's a but coming.
There are multiple buts coming, actually.
Oh no.
So here's the big one, the one that most people genuinely don't know. AWD helps you accelerate in slippery conditions. It does absolutely nothing to help you stop.
Wait, what?
Braking has nothing to do with which wheels are driven. Braking is entirely about tire grip. An AWD car and an FWD car with the same tires will stop in the exact same distance on ice.
Hold on. So people are out here buying AWD SUVs thinking they're safer in winter and it doesn't actually help them stop?
Not one bit. And that's actually where AWD becomes dangerous, not because of what it does, but because of the false confidence it creates. There are studies showing AWD vehicles have significantly more accidents on icy roads because drivers feel so safe that they drive faster than the conditions allow.
Oh, that's actually terrifying. So AWD isn't making the road safer, it's just making people more confident and then the physics catches up to them anyway.
The physics always catches up. AWD gets you moving. It does not get you stopped. And it does not help you turn on ice either. Cornering grip is also entirely about the tires, not the drivetrain.
So AWD is basically only doing one thing, helping you accelerate, and people are treating it like it's doing everything.
That's the whole myth in a nutshell. And car companies know this, and they keep running ads showing AWD SUVs conquering snowy mountain roads without mentioning any of that nuance.
Classic marketing. Sell the sizzle, not the steak. Or in this case, sell the you're safe in any weather and not the you still need good tires and a brain.
Exactly. And then there's the cost. AWD adds somewhere in $1,000 to $3,000 to the purchase price of a car compared to the two-wheel drive version of the same model. And it costs you 1 to 3 miles per gallon in fuel economy because of the added weight and complexity.
So you're paying more up front and more every time you fill up.
Every single tank for the lifetime of the car. And if something goes wrong mechanically, it's also more expensive to fix because the system is more complex.
Okay, so AWD is not worthless, but it's also not the invincibility cloak people think it is.
That's the perfect way to put it. For someone in an area with regular rain and light snow who wants extra confidence and doesn't mind the cost, AWD is genuinely useful. But if you're buying it thinking you're untouchable in winter, you're setting yourself up.
So the real lesson is AWD is a tool, not a superpower.
And good tires are more important than AWD will ever be. We're going to hammer that point home in the myth-busting chapter because it cannot be said enough.
Winter tires mentioned. Noted. Okay, so we've got FWD, RWD, AWD, and now we've got the big one, the one that looks like it means business.
Four-wheel drive, the one that was built when the road literally ends.
Oh, so this is the off-road one. This is the Jeep chapter.
This is absolutely the Jeep chapter. All right, four-wheel drive, 4WD, also written as 4x4. This is the one that was genuinely engineered for situations where the road stops existing.
Okay, so this isn't just bad weather on a highway territory. This is like actual wilderness, no pavement, where am I even going territory.
Rock crawling, deep mud, sand dunes, steep mountain trails, fording through water. That's 4WD's home turf.
So this is basically the drivetrain you want if you're playing real-life off-road simulator.
Real-life Forza Horizon, but you actually have to worry about breaking your car, yes.
Okay, I respect it. So how does 4WD actually work? Because you said earlier it's different from AWD, even though both send power to all four wheels.
Right, so this is the key distinction. In 4WD, there's a component called a transfer case, basically a secondary gearbox that splits the power from the engine and sends exactly 50% to the front axle and 50% to the rear axle. Fixed split. No variation, no automatic adjustment.
Oh, so unlike AWD, which is constantly reading the situation and redistributing power, 4WD just goes 50-50, always no notes.
When it's engaged, yes. Locked in, fixed split, no compromises.
And that's actually better for off-road?
Way better for serious off-road. Because when you're crawling over rocks or pushing through deep mud, you want that guaranteed power going to all four wheels all the time. You don't want a system that might hesitate or redistribute at the wrong moment. You want brute force consistency.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's less smart, but more reliable in extreme situations.
Think of it like this. AWD is like a smart auto-aim system that adjusts based on the situation. 4WD is turning auto-aim off and just locking in manually because you want full control in a specific scenario.
Oh, okay, yeah, that actually tracks. So 4WD is the manual mode.
And that's literally what it is, because most 4WD systems require the driver to manually engage it. You're not just driving around in 4WD all the time. You switch it on when you need it and switch it off when you don't.
Wait, so you can't just leave 4WD on all the time?
In most systems, specifically what's called part-time 4WD, absolutely not. If you drive on dry pavement with 4WD engaged, you get something called driveline binding, because the front and rear axles are locked together at that fixed 50-50 split. But when you turn a corner, the front and rear wheels need to spin at slightly different speeds. On loose ground, that difference gets absorbed by the terrain. On pavement, there's nowhere for that stress to go and it builds up in the drivetrain.
Oh, so you can actually damage the car by leaving 4WD on when you don't need it.
You can, yeah. That's one of the things people who are new to 4WD vehicles get caught out by. They engage 4WD for a bit of snow and then forget to turn it off when they hit dry pavement.
That's the kind of thing nobody tells you until it's too late. Okay, so how do you know when to actually use it?
So most 4WD systems have two modes, 4H and 4L. 4H is four-wheel drive high range. You use that for slippery roads, snow, gravel, moderate off-road, anywhere you need extra traction but you're still moving at normal speeds.
Okay, so 4H is like the things are getting sketchy, but I'm still on something that resembles a road mode.
Exactly. And then 4L, four-wheel drive low range, that's the serious one. Low range gearing means the transfer case multiplies the torque massively. You get incredible pulling and pushing power at very low speeds. That's for rock crawling, steep climbs, deep mud, sand, situations where you need maximum torque and maximum control at basically walking pace.
Oh, so 4L is basically the I am now driving on another planet and I need every bit of mechanical advantage I can get mode.
That is exactly what 4L is for. And that low-range gearing is the thing AWD systems don't have. AWD can handle light off-road, gravel roads, mild trails, some snow, but it doesn't have that low-range grunt for extreme terrain. That's the line between AWD and 4WD capability.
So if AWD is the crossover that can handle a gravel road to a campsite, 4WD is what you need when the campsite is the mountain.
Perfect. And the vehicles built around 4WD reflect that completely. Jeep Wrangler, Toyota 4Runner, Land Rover Defender, Toyota Land Cruiser, Ford F-150 4x4, Chevy Silverado. These are built to take abuse in ways that no AWD crossover is designed for.
The Jeep Wrangler especially. That thing looks like it was designed by someone who genuinely hates roads.
The Wrangler Rubicon specifically comes with locking differentials from the factory, meaning you can lock the front and rear axles so every wheel spins at the same speed regardless of traction. That's for when one wheel is completely off the ground on a rock and you still need the others to pull you through.
Holy crap, so it's not just 4WD, it's 4WD with extra steps for when 4WD alone isn't enough.
Off-road capability goes deep. There's a whole rabbit hole of differential locks, skid plates, lift kits, approach angles, but that's probably a whole other episode.
Please make that a whole other episode.
Noted. But back to 4WD, the downsides are real too. It is the heaviest drivetrain of the four. Worst fuel economy, most expensive to buy and maintain. And on regular pavement, it actually handles worse than all the others because of all that extra weight and mechanical complexity.
So if you're just commuting to work every day in a city, 4WD is genuinely overkill and you're just paying for capability you'll never use.
And paying for it on the pump every single day. 4WD makes total sense if you genuinely go off-road, if you're in a rural area with rough terrain, if you do heavy towing in tough conditions. But if your most off-road moment is pulling into a parking lot, you don't need it.
So know your use case before you spend the money. Got it.
That's the whole lesson with 4WD, honestly. It's an incredible tool in the right hands for the right situations, but like any specialized tool, using it outside of what it was designed for just means you're carrying extra weight for no reason.
It's like bringing a chainsaw to cut a birthday cake. Technically, it'll work, but there were better options.
I'm going to think about that image for a while.
You're welcome. Okay, so we've been through all four. FWD, RWD, AWD, 4WD. I feel like I actually understand what each one does now. But you mentioned myths earlier, and I feel like there's a whole layer of stuff people get wrong about all of this.
Oh, there absolutely is. And some of them are genuinely wild because they're so widespread and so confidently wrong.
Okay, I am ready to have my assumptions destroyed. Let's do it.
Myth-busting time. All right, this is the chapter I've genuinely been looking forward to. Because everything we've covered so far, the how it works, the pros and cons, all of that is important. But this is where a lot of people are actually getting it wrong in real life. And some of these myths are genuinely costing people money, and in some cases, putting them in actual danger.
Okay, that got serious fast. All right, let's go. Hit me with myth number 1.
Myth number 1, AWD is always safer.
Okay, I feel like we already kind of touched on this in the AWD chapter, but go ahead.
We did, but I want to be really direct about it here, because this one is genuinely important. AWD helps you accelerate in low traction conditions. That is the one thing it does. It does not help you brake. It does not help you corner on ice. Stopping distance on ice is identical between an AWD car and an FWD car if they have the same tires.
So an AWD SUV and an FWD sedan with the same tires will take the exact same distance to stop on ice.
Exact same. Physics doesn't care how many wheels are driven. Braking is entirely about the contact between your tires and the road. And here's the stat that really drives it home. AWD vehicles have been shown to have somewhere between 19 and 31% more injury crashes on icy roads compared to two-wheel drive vehicles.
Wait, more crashes, not fewer?
More. Because AWD gives people the confidence to drive faster than the conditions allow. They feel the car accelerating smoothly and they think they're untouchable. And then they hit the brakes or try to corner and realize the AWD did absolutely nothing to prepare them for that moment.
That's like having max armor in a game, but zero dodge stat. You feel invincible right up until you get one-shotted.
That is exactly what's happening. The AWD got them moving confidently, and then the tires, which were never upgraded, let them down completely when it mattered most.
So the lesson is, AWD without good tires is basically false security.
Good tires beat AWD every single time for braking and cornering. That is not an opinion, that is physics. Okay, myth number 2, RWD is dangerous.
Okay, I feel like this one comes from people seeing RWD cars spin out in snow and just assuming the drivetrain is the problem.
That's exactly where it comes from. And it's partially true. RWD in snow without winter tires for an inexperienced driver can absolutely get away from you. That part is real. But here's the thing. Put proper winter tires on an RWD BMW and it will handle winter roads better than an AWD SUV on all seasons tires.
So again, tires. It always comes back to tires.
Always. RWD isn't dangerous. Bad tires in conditions they weren't designed for are dangerous. The drivetrain is getting blamed for a tire problem.
That's like blaming a sword for being useless underwater. That's a you problem, not a sword problem.
And RWD in dry conditions is actually the most balanced and safe handling configuration of any drivetrain because of that weight distribution and the front wheels being free to focus entirely on steering. So calling RWD dangerous across the board is completely wrong.
Context matters. Got it. What's myth number 4?
Myth number 3, 4WD is better than AWD.
Oh, I feel like this one trips a lot of people up because 4WD sounds more hardcore, so people just assume it wins.
And that's exactly the trap. 4WD is not better than AWD. They're designed for completely different jobs. 4WD is better for serious off-road, rock crawling, deep mud, extreme terrain. That low-range gearing, those locking differentials, AWD cannot touch 4WD in those situations. But for rain, for light snow, for regular roads, for fuel economy, for daily driving, AWD wins every single time. 4WD is heavier, worse on fuel, can't even be used on dry pavement in most systems without risking damage. AWD is the better choice for anything that isn't extreme off-road.
So it's not which one is better, it's which one is better for what?
That's the whole answer. They're not competing. They're specialized for different things entirely. Saying 4WD is better than AWD is like saying a pickup truck is better than a sports car. Better for what?
Okay, that framing actually makes it really clear. What's myth number 4?
Myth number 4, 4WD is boring and bad.
Oh, the car people are gonna feel this one personally.
Look, FWD understeer is less thrilling than RWD oversteer. That's a real thing. But calling FWD bad is just enthusiast bias ignoring reality. 80% of cars on the road are FWD, not because manufacturers are lazy, because for the vast majority of drivers and use cases, FWD strikes the best balance of cost, efficiency, practicality, and everyday capability.
And then there's the Civic Type R sitting there quietly holding track records.
The Volkswagen Golf GTI, the Honda Civic Type R, the Hyundai Elantra N. These are FWD cars that will genuinely embarrass a lot of RWD sports cars on a circuit. FWD at its performance limit is a completely different animal than FWD in a grocery getter Corolla.
So the drivetrain isn't the ceiling, the engineering around it is the ceiling.
Exactly right. FWD isn't bad. It's misunderstood by people who only think about driving at 10/10ths when 99% of driving happens nowhere near that.
Okay, what's the last big myth? Because I feel like you've been saving something.
Myth number 5, and this is the big one that ties everything together. You need AWD or 4WD for winter driving.
Okay, I feel like half the people listening right now either believe this or know someone who does.
It is probably the most widespread drivetrain myth there is, and it is completely false. A basic FWD Corolla with proper winter tires will outbrake and outcorner an AWD vehicle on all seasons tires in winter conditions, every single time.
Every single time.
Winter tires work because they're made from a different rubber compound that stays flexible in cold temperatures, giving you dramatically more grip. A proper winter tire can basically double the friction coefficient compared to an all-seasons tire. That is a massive difference that no drivetrain upgrade can match.
So people are spending thousands of dollars on AWD when $400 worth of winter tires would actually do more for their safety.
A basic FWD Corolla with a set of winter tires will stop shorter on ice and corner more predictably in snow than a $55,000 AWD SUV on all seasons. That's not even close to an exaggeration. That's just the physics of tire grip.
That is genuinely one of the most useful things I've learned today. Like, that's the kind of thing that should be in driver's ed.
The car industry has very little financial incentive to tell you that. Winter tires are a one-time purchase. AWD is a premium you pay upfront and every time you fill the tank and every time something needs fixing.
Follow the money, of course.
The bottom line of everything in this chapter, and honestly of this whole episode, is that the drivetrain is just one piece of the puzzle. Tires matter more for braking and cornering than any drivetrain ever will. Know what you actually need before you spend money chasing a feature that might not solve your real problem.
So before you go spend extra on AWD, ask yourself if you actually need it or if you just think you need it because a commercial told you so.
And maybe put that money toward a good set of winter tires instead.
Honestly, the most anti-marketing episode we've done, and I am here for it. Okay, I think we've covered everything. Let's wrap this up.
Let's land this thing.
All right, we've been through all 4 drivetrains front to back, no pun intended. So let's bring it all home. Because after everything we've covered, I think the honest answer to which drivetrain wins is actually a pretty simple one.
Which is?
None of them, and all of them, because the right drivetrain entirely depends on what you actually need it for.
Okay, that sounds like a cop-out answer, but having sat through this whole episode, I actually think that's genuinely correct.
It really is. So let's do a quick run through. FWD, front-wheel drive, is the everyday champion. Most fuel efficient, cheapest to buy and maintain, most practical for daily commuting and city driving, handles rain and light snow really well. If you just need a reliable car to get through life without drama, FWD is probably the smartest choice you can make.
The quiet kid that carries the class. We established this.
We did. RWD, rear-wheel drive, is the driver's choice. Best weight distribution, most engaging and dynamic to drive, the foundation of performance cars and drift culture, and genuinely the most fun drivetrain when you want the car to feel alive. Best for enthusiasts, dry climates, performance driving, and anyone who wants to actually feel connected to what their car is doing.
The one that makes driving feel like an event rather than a commute.
Exactly. AWD, all-wheel drive, is the confidence drivetrain. Best accelerative traction in rain and light snow, fully automatic, no driver input needed, great for areas with inconsistent or changing weather. But, and we cannot say this enough, it does not help you stop, it does not help you corner on ice, and good tires will always matter more than the drivetrain underneath them.
AWD gets you moving, tires get you stopped, physics gets you when you forget that.
And 4WD, four-wheel drive, is the specialist, the one built for when the road ends. Rock crawling, deep mud, sand dunes, steep mountain trails, serious towing in rough terrain. If your adventures genuinely take you off the beaten path, 4WD is the tool that was engineered specifically for that job. But if your most extreme drive is a slightly wet parking lot, you don't need it.
Use the right tool for the right job. Don't bring a chainsaw to cut a birthday cake.
Still thinking about that one.
Good. Okay, so the real takeaways from today. Number 1, know what you actually need before you buy. Number 2, tires matter more than your drivetrain for stopping and cornering. Number 3, AWD is not an invincibility cloak. Number 4, FWD is not boring, it's just practical. And number 5, RWD is the fun one and nobody can take that away from it.
That's honestly the whole episode in 5 sentences. Nicely done.
I pay attention sometimes.
Sometimes. And honestly, the biggest thing I want people to walk away with today is this. Don't let car commercials or internet arguments make the decision for you. Understand what each drivetrain actually does, figure out what your life actually looks like, and choose accordingly. Because the most expensive option is not always the best option for your situation.
Spend your money on what solves your actual problem, not what sounds impressive at a dinner party.
Perfectly put. All right, before we go, if you got something out of today's episode, please drop a like and share it with someone who's thinking about buying a car, arguing about drivetrains online, or just genuinely curious about how this stuff works. It takes 2 seconds and it genuinely helps the channel more than you'd think.
Yeah, our boss runs this whole thing basically on the power of likes and shares and the will to keep going, so please, from the bottom of our hearts, hit that button. Let him eat this month.
And if you've got a topic you want us to break down, cars, history, tech, whatever, drop it in the comments. We read them and we actually use them to plan future episodes.
Seriously, drop something interesting in there. John gets way more excited when the topic is something he didn't already know everything about.
That is not...
It's completely true and everyone listening knows it.
Okay, it's a little true. Anyway, thank you genuinely for spending this time with us today. Whether you're a full-on car person or you came in not knowing what a drivetrain was.
Like me. Exactly like me.
We hope you're leaving with something useful, something that'll actually help you the next time someone brings up FWD versus RWD at a car meet, or you're standing on a lot trying to figure out what you actually need.
And if nothing else, you now know that winter tires beat AWD, and you can use that information to win an argument at some point. You're welcome.
With that, from me, John,
And me, Lily,
thank you so much for watching, and we hope you have an awesome day.
take care of yourselves, check your tire pressure, and we'll see you in the next one.